the hope there is that there's going to be improvement, but Iowa, we know it. Howard said it. The bread is buttered here on the defensive side of the ball. Last season, Phil Parker won his first Broyles Award, given to the top assistant in the country. And you look at these numbers since taking over Iowa's defense 12 years ago, top 5 in the nation in points allowed. Just beyond impressive across the board. We had a chance to catch up with Iowa's defensive mastermind as he heads into year 26 with the Hawkeyes.
Coach, you and I have done a lot of these, and I have a question I know you love to answer, the kind of question. Could this be one of the best defenses you've had here in Iowa?
Every year is a challenge. We've been very successful, I think, because of the continuity, the leadership, and, obviously it comes down to the players. And I think we have potential. But obviously, you got some, you look around the conference, the different coordinators, the different guys that are in our league now, and it's going to be a little bit different. You don't know them as well. And I think that's a challenge for us. But I think if we can stay healthy, I think we have a chance to be a pretty good football team. What
do you have left to do on defense before you break camp?
Well, right now we're just right before we get done with this camp. Our installs are all in.
Right.
So we're just kind of reviewing some of the things that might come up from the past, maybe self-scout stuff that last year. I want to make sure we cover some of those things. And then we'll start preparing next week for the Illinois State game, and probably on Wednesday we'll start preparing for them.
Coach, at this point, this is your 13th season as the defensive coordinator, 26 overall at Iowa. How much can you know about what your defense is going to look like at this point in camp before you've actually played a game?
Well, it's very hard to do that. I think the good thing is the guys are all on the right page. They know what's going on, and the consistency and the talking in between the players and how much football knowledge they have is really good. I think we're in a good spot right now. But we've only been playing against our offense, and after a while you play them for 15, 16 practices, you kind of get to know the plays a little bit, and it's a little bit cheating a little bit. So I think we're in a good spot. I think we got great leadership, from the linebackers to the D-line, and probably the weakest right now is the secondary. We just got to make sure we shore up. I think we got 2 good safeties and find out if we can just hold up out there.
You mentioned the offense, and I think I'd love to get your insight on what Tim Lester has brought and, kind of what you see on that side of the ball so far.
Well, it's very interesting. He came in and doing it in the springtime. It was kind of hard. They give you a lot of motions and shifts and trades and stuff. So you really got to be disciplined with your eye discipline, and I think our guys have done that. The communication has to be better. It has to be faster. And they reduced a lot of times in different formations, which makes it a little bit tougher. But I think our guys have adapted, and I think it's a little bit of a change of what we've been used to seeing. And I think there's guys are working hard together, and I think the team is coming together.
Ashley and I were talking during practice, and I made the comment that every drill is a defensive drill. It favors the defense. So for you to admit that you've been cheating against the offense is very admirable.
Well, I kind of say that a little bit with, just remember, this is I have a buddy in the NFL that talks about how many points you got to put up on the scoreboard. This is an entertainment business, and if you don't keep the people interested, and you got to do that with points, it's not helpful. So all the rules are for the offensive guys. Let's get it straight.
As you study the new teams coming in from out west, any discernible difference between the way they play the game and the way the traditional Big Ten teams are playing it?
Well, our league has changed since 1999,
right,
since we're here. So,
right,
you start seeing the evolution in the offenses, and everybody's, spreading the field out a little bit while they're making you play the whole field. And that's hard to do. You could see it against, look at team last year we played was Tennessee, and you sit there and say, hey, how they spread you out, and what if they keep on doing that? So things that we got to look at ourselves, Scout. But I think it'll be a challenge. I think more of a challenge is the travel. Right now, we talk about academics and stuff like that. We got these kids traveling, playing on Friday nights.
Yeah, of course, it's worse for them coming east more than you're gonna go west.
Yeah.
But on both sides of it, it is going to be a
good
challenge.
thing we're right in the middle.
Yeah,
that's true.
Geographically, right.
Yeah.
I'm curious for you. I know you're not about personal accolades, and individual awards aren't what's important. But what did it mean to you to win the Broyles Award last year?
Well, it was very humbling. If you see the guys on the list that have won it, and just to be in that group of guys that have it. But it really takes a team, an organization, and the staff, and it's really the whole team. It's not just one guy. I know it's it's kind of a little bit embarrassing a little bit to get it, but very proud. They do a great job down there, and I'm looking forward to going back next year to return to see who it is next year.
Who are your leaders on defense?
Leaders, Jay Higgins is a guy that's he's our coach on the field, and I think Nick has really done a great job. And our up front guys, all four of those guys, Wyatt Black, I think he's done a good job. They know what's going on inside. Aaron Graves, I mean, these guys already know what to do, and they've really matured of how they do it. And then in the back end, I think Castro and Quinn have done a good job. You look at Castro, how he developed over last year. He's very productive, and the way he practices, and there's a couple things on tape, but we saw that the way he plays the game is, I wish I had 10 more of them.
Last thing for me, Coach. It seems like overall it's been a healthy camp other than one major injury, and I'm glad you don't have your sling on right now, but how are you doing? How are you feeling? What's the injury update?
I think in a couple of weeks, I'll have it out of the sling, and hopefully they'll let me on the field. I'm not going up in the box, so they talked about me going up in the box. I'm not going up in the box. Can't do it. You got to see the kids' eyes and stuff like that. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'll be back.
So is that why you stayed down? I was going to ask you what the difference is calling defenses from the box down the sidelines. That's why you stayed down there?
I do. The reason I did it for 1 year, and it wasn't very good. It wasn't a great year anyways, but I think it's very important that if I can give information to them immediately, I can see where the kids are in their eyes and see it right then, instead of talking on the old radio and back and forth is not the same.
Coach, it's always a great stop. Always appreciate your time. Take care of your shoulder.
Well, thank you. I'm sure my wife wants me to. Me and her are going at it right now.
Tell her it was Ashley's idea to get you out of the sling.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
Back here at Iowa, and you take a look at what the Hawkeyes have coming back. 9 returning players on defense who started at least 6 games in 2023. It's pretty scary for opposing offenses to think about how much production Phil Parker will have back from a defense that gave up fewer than 15 points per game last season. 2 of the stalwarts of that defense, Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson, are with Howard.
We were joking a little bit earlier, talking about this is a linebacker-friendly defense. Tell me what makes it so friendly for linebackers to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely friendly when you have those big guys up front. It all starts up with Wyatt Black, Aaron Graves, Craig, Herkett, all those guys up front make it a linebacker-friendly defense because of how much they protect us up front and doing their job, and it all starts with those guys up front.
Talk about waiting your time, waiting your turn. What's that been like?
Yeah, I say it's just a testament to the program. Obviously, we're known for developing guys, and I knew I had some good players in front of me, and it just made sense to stick around while I was waiting, continue to get better, and I feel like it's been beneficial for me.
What are some of the things this defense wants to work on when you're done with training camp? Know that you check all of those boxes.
I think staying present, just worrying about the day and just attacking each and every day. I think a lot of people get caught up in the big picture thing, and we just focus on getting better on our game plan every single day for that week and that opponent specifically.
How fun is it to be around Coach Parker?
Coach Parker, he's something else. Anytime you can be around guys who enjoy football, they coach with their heart, they coach so passionately. You never know what you're going to get that day. But you better come to practice ready to play. You better be in the meetings locked in. He has respect from every guy in the building.
Tell me about this offensive side. How has that been looking this training camp?
Yeah, I mean, it's just stressful for us. There's no other way to put it for that. Yeah. Those guys, they come out every single day and they're working. Just like being a new guy last year, I know how hard it is to learn a new system. Mm-hmm. But those guys, they come out and they compete, and the way they've been attention to detail and the way they've prepared for practice and everything that they've done, they give us a lot of stress every single day, and they compete, and those boys are coming after us.
And they got good players. It doesn't matter if you know the play. If Luke Lachey is running a route, sometimes it doesn't matter. Yeah. And these quarterbacks, both of them, they're putting these passes in places that you kind of give up. There's certain coverages where you got to give up a weak point, and they seem to find it every time. So, yeah, it's been definitely a stressful off season for us. but really excited for our defense because we know like going against those guys it's going to make it easier during the season.
You had some young guys that were making some big plays out there, coming up with some interceptions. Talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, Carson Shire, Jaden Harrell. Just a lot of those guys, I see a lot of myself in them when it comes to waiting their turn. Jack Campbell was a year older than me, so I know what it's like to have a guy who's playing high-level football who's 1 year older. And I just think Jaden Harrell, Carson Shire, Jackson Rexroth, those guys did a great job waiting their turn. I'm really excited to see what they can do next year, knowing Coach Wallace, Coach Parker, just been grooming those guys.
Some keys for this defense to be successful, continue to be successful.
Yeah, I think it starts up front, just being physical. Staying physical and just the detail in the preparation. Can't never get complacent. Always know the game plan and just listen to our coaches. I'm thankful for these coaches. Their attention to detail, their preparation, what they pour into us. We have to match that or do our best to match that because the amount of effort and energy that they pour into us, it's a lot. So just if we listen to them, be specific to our game plans and all that, I think we'll be okay.
What's it been like to have someone in your ear for the play? What's that been like?
It's different, and luckily for us, Coach Wallace on Saturdays, he's pretty calm and collective.
Yeah, because he's not during the week.
Yeah. During the week, he's crazy.
No.
But it's cool that he's, he won't be yelling in there. But I think we're still going to do signals from the sideline. But just any tip that he can help us with. There's a lot going on. And sometimes an easy reminder like that's beneficial.
Well, thanks a lot for spending a little time with me.
Yes, sir.
Have
a great year.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Well, Kirk Ferentz isn't concerned about his own personal accolades, but let's just take a moment to admire what he has done here at Iowa. 10 wins away from passing Woody Hayes as the all-time winningest coach in Big Ten history. He's entering year 26 here in Iowa City, and he's kind enough to join us now. Coach, when you look at that list and you think about those numbers, what comes up for you?
Yeah, I don't look at that list, so first of all, but, it goes back to 1981 when I came here as an assistant. I figured out pretty quickly. I was really fortunate to land in a place I didn't know much about. And then I think the commonality, both those 9 years and then the last 25, just been around a lot of good people, whether it's a coaching staff and then certainly the players. That's the most important thing. But it's a unique place, and it just really feel fortunate.
Yeah, we were talking about this before practice. Can you kind of extrapolate on how much it has or hasn't changed the actual job? Because the sport and everything around it has changed a lot. So how would you describe how different it is now going into your 26th season?
Or 99,
wherever you want to start is
really
good with
matter.
me.
Yeah, it's amazing. But, it's really our world. Our world's changed so much, and anybody that's a parent or a teacher, I think, is fully aware of that. And, so that's just part of life and whatever. But the good thing is our players, and again, the commonality, what we're all trying to do, that hasn't changed, whether you go back to the 80s or now. So that's, I think, what makes all of us like doing what we do. And, certainly not for the hours, all that kind of stuff, but it's just you get a chance to work with really good people.
It's getting tiresome talking about how everything's changed. How have the players stayed the same in the 25 years that you were head coach?
One thing my mentor Joe Moore taught me, and I believe this is true, I've never met a good player that didn't want to be coached. And I think inherently, I'll go back. I taught school 2 years. I became functionally illiterate after that 2-year period, but when I taught English, I figured maybe 15% of the kids in the class wanted to be there. In football, it's the other way around. Guys are here because they want to do something and try to better themselves on the field and also as people. So, I just think got such respect for anybody that plays at this level in the Big Ten, any sport, the dedication, the commitment it takes. And football is the ultimate team sport, so even more respect for the way our guys operate.
You're making a change on offense. How's that going? What can the fans expect?
Well, we'll see. One thing I've learned is, if you block and, keep the ball off the ground, you might have a chance to move it. And I think we're a little bit more veteran up front. That's good. I think our quarterbacks are starting to get a little bit more comfortable, and we're coming along. And Tim's been great. He's been a great addition. He's really fit in seamlessly with our staff and with our players. Players really been responsive to him. He's very positive, enthusiastic, and, lots been written about motion shifts, all those kinds of things, but all I know is when the ball snapped, you still got to block somebody, and you got to keep the ball off the ground.
We'll be talking to Tim in just a little bit, but for you, what have you seen from the quarterback so far this camp?
Some ups and downs, which is kind of expected. On Cade's case, he's missed 2 years basically of, he's thrown 7-on-7, things like that, but It's still not real football, and you have to get out there and you have to operate, and you've got to be on the field with 11 people on your side and their side. So I think he's really making progress right now, and every snap right now in my mind is important for him. I think he's having a good week this week, and hopefully we just keep pushing that forward. Now, Brennan's been a great addition. He's just a great young guy, and he's learning every day. It's a little different for him. He got here in June, so he's playing catch-up that way. But I think he's a good prospect, and Marco's still doing a good job too, and he's obviously younger than those two guys. But I think we have a good room right now.
As you study the teams coming in, is there any difference the way the Pac-12 has played the game and the Big Ten?
Yeah, me personally, I think that's overblown a little bit. I just those are all good programs. They have good coaching staffs, and they've got good players. I mean, you just look at the NFL draft. Washington, we saw them last year against Michigan State. It didn't take long to figure out these guys are pretty good. I didn't know they were going to be in the championship game, but their offensive line extremely impressive. 2 receivers that get drafted in the first 40 picks, quarterbacks a first rounder. So, they just, these are all good programs, and our league has gotten stronger.
You look like you're deeper and healthier in the offensive line. Is that a fair assessment compared to maybe the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think it's a real key, Jerry, and it's it's nobody's fault. We've had some attrition, some injury issues, things like that. I know everybody wants the blame game, but it's just things happen, and you got to work through it and adjust. And one thing about line play, you can't microwave it. I do know that. So I think our guys have gone through some tough times. I think they have a chance now maybe to play at the tempo they want to play at. So that's exciting, and I'm encouraged by our younger guys too. I think they've had a good, we've been out there 12, 13 days, seeing some real growth and progress there too. So I'm optimistic about that, and I do know this. If your line, traditionally here at Iowa, going back to the 80s, if the line plays well and the quarterback protects the football, we got a chance to be okay.
What do you know about your team at this point, and maybe what's one of kind of the biggest question mark that you have yet to get answered?
I really like our veteran leadership has been really strong, and that part of that 8 guys chose to come back, which is just fantastic, and they're all top quality guys, so that's a good starting point. We're very veteran on defense. You worry about complacency. I really don't worry about it, but you can't check the box until we go out and play. We haven't stopped anybody yet. And then, some variables in the kicking game. Reese Dakin's done a nice job as a new punter, so feel good about that. Drew Stevens looks like he's really starting to come into his own a little bit. And then offensively, we're young at the receiver position, but I think there's some potential there and reason to think that group's going to come through and do all right. And then it's a matter of pulling the whole thing together. And we got 2 weeks here to get ready, so it's coming fast.
Coach, it's always great coming here. Your hospitality is very much appreciated.
It's great to see you, and Ashley, welcome to Iowa.
Thank you. It's awesome to be here. We appreciate you, Coach. Iowa won 10 games last year despite averaging fewer than 250 yards per game on offense, so it was thanks to their defense that the Hawkeyes have always found a way. More wins in the last quarter century when being outgained than any other team in all of FBS. But this fall, hope springs eternal as Tim Lester takes over the offense. Here's 2 of his offensive stars with Howard.
So, guys, first year in the new offense, what's it been like?
It's been good. Just all of us coming together and, trying to get it right, is the biggest thing, building chemistry in a new offense. And, I feel like it's been coming along well.
It's been very exciting. It's a lot of more new plays, a lot of more motion. We're trying to be more explosive, bring a little bit of excitement to the offense.
You guys listen, it's well documented about what the offense couldn't do. But tell me about what this offense, what you guys expected to do this year.
I think we expect to run the ball really well. That's where it starts. We're going to run off the ball, the O-line and tight ends and, the receivers. And we're going to do our best to, make running space for this guy and the other running backs in the room. So, I think we're really going to – it all starts there and then work off of that.
Tell me about some of the other guys in the tight end room.
I feel like we've got a good group of guys in there. To start, Addison Ostrenga has done really well this camp. Zach Ortworth, Johnny Pascuzzi, Hayden Large. We got a lot of guys in there that are doing well, and I'm just super excited for them.
Tell me about this offensive line. Those guys look big and physical up front.
Oh yeah, definitely. Them guys work hard each and every week. It's exciting just to go out there and see them each and every week put a foot forward and try to take another step in the game. They physical, they big. It's a great thing for me and all my running backs, Kamari, KJ, Jazz. Hopefully this year we can have a big year. We can put more touchdowns on the board and open up the passing game for guys like Luke.
Listen, you guys had an interesting perspective. I'm not asking you to pick a starting quarterback, but tell me some of the things that both guys do really well.
I think they both got their strengths. You know, they both consider vets. You know, they both got experience under their belts. Truthfully, I'm comfortable with either one in the game. You know, I feel like we can win with both of them, and may the best man win.
Tell me about this Lego collection.
Oh, I got a big collection. My girlfriend Emma and I, we got a huge collection together that we just like to spend nights just building Legos.
How did it start?
It started last year when I got injured. Something to fill some of my time up and take my mind off of things. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, look, I'm looking excited to see you guys this year. Looking forward to watching what this offense can do. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Back in Iowa, and here's a look at where Tim Lester has been the last 10 years. The Hawkeyes' new offensive coordinator. He was in Green Bay last season as an analyst. He's got a wide variety of experience, including being the head coach at Western Michigan for 6 seasons. He's just the 4th OC to work under Kirk Ferentz, and he joins us now. Great to see you, and thanks for spending some time with us. I want to ask you, obviously, what you've learned about this offense, but let's start with you personally. What has the transition been like, and what have you learned about this program since coming here?
It's been a great transition, unbelievable coaching staff, Coach Ferentz, and the way he just handles all of us. And I've been learning a ton watching him be head coach and as a former head coach, and it's been fun taking notes. And we have a long way to go. It's been fun, hungry group of offensive players that really want to improve, and we're throwing a lot of new stuff at them. Pretty much everything's new. And they've been doing a good job. We're getting a little bit better every day.
Yeah, LeSean Williams was saying how fun and exciting this offense is, and he said he's really enjoying learning it. A lot of different motions. What can Hawkeye fans expect? What does the Tim Lester offense look like?
Well, I mean, our goal is to run the ball, be balanced, and find explosive plays. And that's we've been running the ball well. We haven't been finding as many explosive plays as we need to, but when you can run the ball, it makes that part of the offense way easier to do. So you can't put the cart before the horse, and we're in the process. We're probably going to grow as the season goes, but I just like the way they're showing up and attacking every day, and so we've been improving just because of their effort.
Where are you at the quarterback position?
Well, the two guys have been battling, Cade and Sully. Cade's really had a good week this week. He kind of went through ups and downs coming back from a knee injury. Everyone knows kind of how that goes, of confidence in the pocket, bodies falling all around you. Was a little skittish early, calmed down. He's better in phase 2, moving around the pocket now. And Sully's natural in the pocket, and he's played both have played a bunch of Big Ten football games, and so that's a huge advantage. And so it's been fun. I think they both make each other better, and we've got a long way to go, but and I coach them. But we have to be better than we were today, at least, and continue to improve.
I'm sure you've been involved in other quarterback battles. So what's the tiebreaker quality when they're really close? I mean, not necessarily these two guys, just in general coaching a quarterback. What is the separator?
Really 3 things. One would be their feet. Can they operate the offense on time and in rhythm? Some guys have a strong enough arm that they can be late and they'll fit a couple in, but when you go against good defense, that's a pick 6. You better go tackle someone, right? That's one. 2 is who can take care of the ball naturally in practice. If some guys just finding ways to turn the ball over, that's the other thing. And the last thing, the thing I enjoy is I love watching. I actually asked Coach Ford earlier last week. Is you put the 2s versus the 1s and the 1s versus the 2s, and I love a quarterback that can take the 2s with technically inferior athletes and find a way to get first downs against the 1s, make the people around you better. And the one guy's supposed to go down and score when in that scenario, and so we've done that a little bit just to see who can handle themselves when they're kind of outmatched, and your job is to move the ball, matriculate the ball down the field. No one's going to remember how it got happened. If the ball's moving, people will remember you. So those are the 3 things, and we're in the middle of it, but it's been fun to watch.
I think the toughest job in college football is the play caller on Saturday. I think it's harder than what the head coach does or anyone else does. Will the Iowa fans see something dramatically different, a little bit different? Will it be carryover from what they've done in the past? Obviously, you want to be better. You always want to be better.
Yeah, I think the schemes are the same, right? There's only so many schemes that you have. There's counter, there's power, there's Stanley. I mean, all the normal run plays, stretch, inside zone. It's just how you get to them and how you present the plays, right? And that's something that this offense has always done a really good job on. So I think if you get on the PFF world, I think we were one of the most stagnant offenses. We didn't motion much. I'm willing to bet that will look a lot different now, as far as just trying to, change the defensive keys, change their fits, and try to mess with their eyes as much as humanly possible. But once we snap the ball, we're running one of those plays, and so. That part is a huge change for the offensive line because the guys are going to be moving at the snap. Big change for the receivers. I think they run as much before the play as they do sometimes during the play. And they've really, welcomed this offense in and been getting better at it every single day.
There's also a change in the rules, and you think about what the green dot and the player, coach-to-player communication in the game. I'm sure there's some nuances because you kind of have to learn and what the guys like, how you're going to operate it. So just can you give us a little insight into how you're practicing that and what your philosophy will be and how much that changes things?
Yeah, believe it or not, it changes us zero. When I got here, my biggest concern for my first 2 weeks on the job, first 2 weeks of February, was how am I going to run this without being able to communicate with the quarterback like we did in Green Bay. And then they passed it. I think I'd rather be lucky than anything. And when they passed, it really took everything out of all the how are we going to signal this in, how are we going to get all these motion and put signals to them. And now I can just talk to them. So it was kind of ironic that happened 2 weeks into me getting this job. We have enough to do as far as getting our players doing the things we need to do. So it was good that some of the logistical headaches were erased when they allowed us to do this coach to player communication.
They heard you wanted it, so they made it happen. 2 weeks, not bad.
That.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much, and best of luck this season.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
Been a terrific day here in Iowa City. Picture perfect on campus as we wrap up the Hawkeyes training camp show. Taking a look at the 2024 schedule. It all begins on the Big Ten Network August 31st against Illinois State. And Ohio State October 5th. They also have to play Washington and Wisconsin at home. The Bruins at the Rose Bowl in early November, and at Maryland, which is where Kirk Ferentz works. Plenty of interesting matchups as the Big Ten looks a little bit different than it did a year ago. But these two guys still look exactly the same. They never age. Biggest takeaways, and anything stands out to you as you look at the schedule?
Not so much the schedule. I think it's a favorable schedule for them. If they can figure out who they're ultimately going to be offensively, I think everything else kind of takes care of itself. What kind of defense that they're going to have, so they'll be able to take that wherever they go on the road.
90 minutes, really well done practice, physical, with a scrimmage tomorrow. So, this team is getting ready to come out of camp here pretty soon. Offensive line, obviously better. Quarterback situation, like other teams in our conference, they've got to settle that because you don't have a team until you have a starting quarterback, because it's hard to manage the rest of it without someone that you can trust under the center. But again, actually, it's a fight for leverage at the line of scrimmage. Every drill, every play, they're trying to keep leverage on the ball on defense. They're gap sound. It was just 90 minutes of Iowa football, incredibly well coached.
Coach, I'm a little disappointed.
What happened?
You haven't mentioned blocks yet. You haven't talked about that segment at all, and this is unusual.
Well, I leave that up to you and Paul Federici.
When that started, he did like a little jig, like, "Oh, this is worth the price of admission."
This is a team that obviously is well coached, right? And it's about, as I mentioned earlier, it's about execution for them, and that's what they understand. And the players on this team, they want to be better, right? This is an offense that struggled. They're tired of hearing it. Defense doesn't want to hear about it either. So the offense just has to go ahead and start to take those next strides to help this team out.
And we can end the day with the way we started it, right? They're going to play defense. Yeah. They're going to have outstanding special teams. Mm-hmm. The offensive line's deep. They just have to figure out this quarterback position. Their offense isn't going to look all that much different. This isn't becoming a spread team. There's going to be motions and shifts and all that. And at the end of the day, they're going to match up in the box and get a running game going.
Yeah, it's about execution again. It's about that. And, you mentioned special teams, and I think that's always a huge plus here. When you can win in that area, and that's why one of the reasons they've been able to have so much success. You talk about the three phases: offense, defense, and special teams, and you need to be able to win two of those each and every week. So now they've been able to do that in previous years. Now it's about, can you win in that third phase? And the way the schedule shapes up, offensively, this could be a really interesting team to watch as we start to move toward this 12-team playoff.
There was a punt today about midfield where the ball was a spiral. It looked like a quarterback throwing it, and it landed 1 yard outside the end zone with one of the gunners down there catching it. it was as an exact play as any other offensive defensive play. I mean, they are special on special teams.
Yeah, it's a great way to flip the field. There's no question about it. Last thought as we wrap this thing up, and I think coming in as the newbie, I want to make sure that we are just celebrating what Kirk Ferentz has done here, because I don't think, honestly, and you guys tell me that we're going to see many more Kirk Ferentzes with the way that college football is structured in the world and the way that it is. So to see what he's built here and to see him year 26, it feels like he's got as much energy as he ever has.
Yeah, he does, and he's in it. And I'm not saying that other coaches are in it for different reasons, but you can tell when you talk with him. You know, he cares not just about what this program is going to continue to be, but he cares about the young people that are in this program. And do we all have hiccups in the road when you've been around as long as he has? Absolutely. But I thought he's done a marvelous job of adjusting to what the game has been when he needed to.
And yet, I think one of his great contributions is you stand out there on the field with him and you say, how have the players changed? And the answer is, they really haven't.
Yeah.
And I believe that. We are so lucky that we get to come to campus and see, at the end of the day, with all the changes, got a bunch of great young people playing a great game.
Amen. I was standing next to two of you today going, this never gets old. This is unbelievable that we get to be here. So our thanks. And the good news is we get to keep going. Up next, we're headed to Madison, Wisconsin to get a look at the Badgers as they head into year 2 under Luke Fickell. So looking forward to that stop as the training camp rolls on. That's going to do it for us today. A huge thank you to all the wonderful people here at Iowa, Kirk Ferentz for the access, and Matt Weitzel for all the hospitality. Been a good one. We'll see you next time in Madison.